everybody over 500 million. No, it says it'd be a good idea to keep it under 500 million.
I don't know, man. I could see a lot of people interpreting
Exactly.
it that way.
Interpreting it that way because they want to be afraid and they want to have somebody to blame for everything and they want to have these ridiculous conspiracy. I'm sorry. I mean, come on. I think that that's a really good idea, honestly. That's all I'm going to say about it. I think that that's a damn good idea and we should probably heed it. You know, whether it be time travelers from the future or our ancestors from the past, somebody put it there for a reason.
I mean, that's just one person's opinion. Oh, 500,000, that's the cutoff. Like
500 million.
Or 500 million, that's the cutoff. Like that's a specific number, kind of. Like, why isn't it, 550 million? Like, I don't get, like, that's just one dude who's like, I came up with the best number for the population.
I mean, no,
like,
it's
how
a
did you come to that situation? Or that?
Honestly, it's a suggestion as to keep the population under a certain amount, wherein once we get over 500 million or so, say, thereabouts, that's the point where we start, populating, multiplying at such a rate that it's unsustainable, that we've gotten from,
But that's just what I was saying. Like, it's not unsustainable. It's only unsustainable now because of the corruption in all the industries and the fact that no one fucking gives a shit about anything but their money and their big house and their jets and
if
shit.
we continue to multiply at the rate that we have been, it's going to become that's exponential.
All right,
we're going to keep multiplying faster and faster and faster until 100 years from now we have 300 billion people on the planet.
Well, I mean,
that's not going to work.
You don't know that that's going to happen. I mean,
let's hope it doesn't.
The second commandment for the new age of reason inscripted on the Georgia Guidestones. Number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Improving fitness and diversity. What does fitness absolutely have to do? Okay, no, they're not using fitness in the way that like you see it in yoga studio signs. They're using fitness as in decide who's fit to survive. That's fucking creepy, kind of. Oh man.
Why? What makes you think that?
Because it was erected in like the 80s, dude. There's no way that they're like, we need to make sure everybody exercises. Like that's no way, dude. What does that have to do with reproduction?
We had people that would have said that sort of thing thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. We had people who were smart enough to say, be fit.
What am I thinking of? It's like a colloquialism. It's the nomenclature of a modern time, kind of. That doesn't, fitness in and of itself, that doesn't have anything to do with reproduction. What does that mean? It means those who are fit.
And even
to reproduce. Well, like, who gets to decide who's fit to reproduce?
We do.
Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason.
What does that mean?
Rule...
Unite humanity with a living new language. Basically, what does that mean?
I think it's like the Tower of Babel kind of thing, where like everyone can understand each other. Like if I were to, go
living.
over to...
The operative word there is living.
Go to, Russia or whatever, like it wouldn't be hard for me to like communicate with my fellow human beings or whatever, A living... Okay.
What are we doing teaching podcasting?
The living part about the new language is that it's kind of like English. It has to be able to adapt over time and new generations. They add words to the dictionary all the time because a type of slang words come up in different colloquialisms, and I'm not even saying that word right.
I think that's speaking the value. I think that's speaking the value. The shifting glyphs, Aussie was thought of as being a living language, the script of
it's referred
the
to.
script
English
of life.
is referred to as a living language.
The idea of the God concept telling the story or reading the story of life and the shifting glyphs being us as a living language, and what we do, our behavior, our patterns, our tendencies, all represented
They
as values
change
that
over
present
time.
themselves. But the values don't. The values don't change.
No. Yes,
the
they do.
languages change.
The values in and of themselves, but the things that people value change all the time.
No, I'm not talking about that. That's what we'd have to refer to as being equality. Value is speaking to the actual, real meaning of a thing, or the implication of a thing, what a thing is being.
And you're speaking as a reasonable person, which twice so far on the Georgia Guidestones that's been referred to as a reason, a new age of reason, rule all things with tempered reason, but people aren't reasonable. Like, that's the big problem here. Like, humanity isn't reasonable. So how do you shift that?
Well, that's what we're trying to do here.
Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
So that's where the one world government idea comes into play.
Which we already have a United Nations, so I don't see why that's...
Yeah, we already have a one world government.
Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, and love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Those are the 10 Commandments on the Georgia Guidestones.
Okay, so the Georgia Guidestones are fucking awesome. Like, everything that they just said, I can wholeheartedly agree with in every possible way.
It's that
so who's
first
saying that
one
that's
that
a fucking...
people get tripped up on, bro.
It's
decided on the number, and how did they come to that conclusion, and why do we have to, why should we follow that, that commitment of that specific number? That's where all the questions come in.
I will give a good reason, because it's a pretty decent idea. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, except the only thing that's wrong with maintaining that number...
we have to kill a bunch of people?
Well, no, now we do, but... Now we do, but...
No, we don't.
We don't. We're not going to kill a bunch of people. Again, I'm not promoting killing everybody, but now...
Without even hesitation, he's like, now we do.
Now we do. Now we would have to, but...
Shame on
we don't
you.
have to. If we implemented some level of population control to rectify this, then eventually it would level itself out, and we could get back to roundabouts that number and thereabouts. I mean, I'm sure 1 billion people would be fine. It's not the number that is.
Okay, so then
it's
who
just
gets
having,
to decide?
It's having who knows. That's something we'd have to work out as a species. We can't, and not a single one of us can discern that.
And
we
what
would
happens
have to
if you go
work that out as a democracy?
If you go one person over, does that mean you got to kill some lady's baby or something?
No,
because
well, that's
it was
what I was
just
just
born,
saying,
and
is
sorry,
that
you
this
just
could be
missed the deadline.
this
It's
could be
500 million already. We got to kill your baby.
This could be a roundabouts number or something. An average.
So you're just making all the rules here.
With this number, yeah, I'm saying that. The only thing that stands against this idea of maintaining a certain population, which is, for all intents and purposes, a great idea. There is nothing wrong with that. It is a damn good, very responsible fucking idea. But the only thing that disapproves of that is the religious concept that thou must go forth and multiply. That's it. And that's where that idea of active procreation for the sake of it comes from. That's what's promoting it and reinforcing it.
That's your purpose.
That's your purpose. Go forth and fucking procreate.
And then you're
And
valuable,
why?
and then you're useful,
And who
then
would
you've
push
served
that?
your purpose.
Who would push that for what reason?
A bunch of Christians.
Who makes a fuck ton of money off of everybody that lives? There's gonna be somebody that you guys are thinking is some kind of a conspiracy. Is somebody that's making money off of every living child? You know that
we have used that trigger word a few times in this video, but making fun of certain conspiracies. And then while saying at the same time that others have, credibility. And I just want to clear up that conspiracy in and of itself is a legal term for two or more people that have conspired against another human or a group for the sake of earning something or gaining some kind of profit or objects or whatever. Like, it's an actual legal term used in a court of law, defined by a court of law. And so I think that the fact that it's become this like trigger word where as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh my God, flat earth, there's like something crazy pops up like that. Like, there is such a thing as two or more people conspiring to gain from, other people's, distress or whatever. Like, that's an actual, that happens.
To be clear, I'm saying that there are conspiracies in play. I'm saying that when you're going to...
But not everything.
When you're going to cry out and say that pushing environmental responsibility is a conspiracy by somebody... I mean, think about what would actually logically be a conspiracy. People wanting you to procreate because they're going to make money off of your babies. That's what would logically be a good reason to push that idea. People wanting you to ignore this environmental crisis or the potential environmental crisis,
for the sake of their existing
for the sake of
businesses
maintaining
or
their existing profit margins.
Absolutely.
That would be a logical reason for a conspiracy. Try to think of the logical reasons somebody would have to push awareness of environmental issues, and tell me if they disagree with what you would think is morally viable, given your own, were you to have permission to make your own decisions bereft of them.
I'm on board. I think it's crazy. We did not get very far in this video at all for this chick. I imagine I'll finish it probably later tonight because I'm just curious but from the looks of some of the other titles of her videos, she seems like one of those, super right-wing chicks, which is fine, I guess. But again, people tend to really bandwagon and go off the deep end, and I think that there are such a thing as conspiracies, but not everything can be a conspiracy. And I think that people drop that word when they want to kind of bandwagon with something else. Like, instead of saying, well, like you said, I think it's morally wrong, or I think it's morally right to be able to do A, B, and C, and D, you instead have to go, well, that's a conspiracy. That's why I don't agree with it. Instead of saying, I don't agree with it because I think it's morally fucked up, or it makes me uncomfortable, or whatever. It's another aspect of the dividing, thing where you're putting a blockage, you're putting up that bubble between you and something that you have to decide if you think something is right or wrong or logical or reasonable. And then when you don't want to decide for yourself, you can just bandwagon and say it's a conspiracy and a hoax. So that's why I don't believe it. But even though I don't believe it, I'm still a good person. And in the case of the environmental stuff.
Right. Yeah. And we went way over. Like, we made way. So yeah, we can't finish her video now, at least. What we'll do is we'll finish watching her video and we'll talk about it together, and then we'll do a commentary on that at the start of our next one. But
I think after this, though, we kind of need to give the Greta Thunberg effect a rest, because I'm over it. I'm sick of just responding to people that are pissed off at this little girl. Like, I don't know why everyone's so mad. And honestly, everyone has their reasons, but
yeah,
it seems like a waste of time.
What we'll do is we'll give you
saying how ridiculous
we'll give you a commentary for this one next week for the remainder of this one, which, you know what, I'll go ahead and give the commentary based on what we get out of it later on in the week myself. Then this coming weekend, we already have another video on another topic that we'd like to respond to. So we'll give it a rest for that week, and then we'll continue from there on. Ultimately, what we intend to do here is, as I've stated already, we're going to get to approaching Greta, to responding to Greta Thunberg and her speeches, or one of her speeches, and an interview that she did. Ultimately.
Oh right, the interview. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to her, but we'll give it a rest for a week, and we'll see, what comes to pass within that week, and we'll do a video on another something else for the next week to give you guys a rest on Thunberg too. This is an ongoing investigation. There's probably going to be more.
Yeah, but I think we're pretty firm in the stance that, you know what, if you think that we should ignore environmental problems because you're made uncomfortable by a 17-year-old girl who has opinions, then you're most likely a dick, and to get over it.
Right, yeah, you're not, like I said, keep Staggerson Jag's fucking opinion in mind
I
throughout the
love that
course
guy.
of
That was
this.
super funny, that video that he did.
He got on Demi's nerves pretty bad. Honestly, I don't know if he's,
I mean, he seems
wrong.
a little crazy, but
yeah,
he's funny. It made me laugh.
I like him, ultimately, so in case Demi ever sees this, I'm not siding with him.
There are no sides.
But, I mean, ultimately what we're trying to do is get everyone working together. That includes you two rambunctious kids. So, yeah, for now, we'll clip this. Then next week we'll jump onto something else. I'll give you guys a commentary coming up in the week, and then we'll take it from there. We will get around to, addressing Greta Thunberg directly, just likely not this coming week. So, thank you all for watching. Kila Salai. That means ode to our home world, honor of our home.
Leave room for nature.
Leave room for nature. Terve Uni
Twice.
Siari. Namaste.